Hi, everybody. This is Georgia with Enough Faith for Today. Um, Today, I want to talk about different relationships, okay, and how you walk through life treating people. Um, are your relationships transactional or are you investing in other people? Uh, the Bible talks a lot about how we're supposed to treat people, and I just want to touch on the fact that when you have transactional relationships, it's typically what can I get? You know, you use the relationship to gain something for yourself. You may have to give something in order to gain that something, but at the center of it, it's about what are you getting. And when you invest in people, it does take a deeper connection. It does take some vulnerability because people can let you down. That's just the truth of the matter. Sometimes they let you down even when they don't want to let you down. It's part of being human. But when you invest, this is something we really need to start thinking about because it's something we need to start doing. When you invest in others, you not only gain more love and more relationship in your life, but you teach that person how to invest in others. And then it becomes a cycle of loving people, love people, where the transactional relationship is more of a cycle of hurting people, hurt people. Because typically, when you live your life in transactional relationships, it is because you are guarding yourself from being hurt. But in the process of guarding yourself, you can unintentionally hurt somebody else along the way. And if you're really on like the bad karma side, you will intentionally hurt somebody along the way to get what you want. You don't want to be there. Karma is real. The way you treat others will come back to you eventually. It says in the Bible, in due season, you will reap what you sow. Okay. And so now I just kind of want to start these videos with this little cup thing because I love it. And it's just different scriptures. Pink is for if you're feeling frustrated. So we're going to read a pink one today. If you're feeling frustrated, flee the evil desires of youth and pursue righteousness, faith, love, and peace, along with those who call on the Lord out of a pure heart. And that is Timothy 2:22, chapter 2, verse 22. It's Timothy. That's my boy's name. And I was going to do a purple one too. Purple one is for troubled. Are you feeling troubled? I think a lot of us are. A lot of us are feeling frustrated and troubled. Okay. It says, wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart. And wait for the Lord. He'll show up. That's Psalms 27:14. And I want to read some verses out of the Bible, which there are many, that talk about how we are supposed to treat one another. Okay, in Philippians, it says, do nothing out of selfish gain. Do nothing out of selfish gain, but in humility, considering others better than themselves. Considering others better than you. And that's something I think we can all use some practice on. It's not good to look down at others. It's definitely not good to judge others because it's not our job to judge. That's God's job and God's job alone. Even Jesus doesn't judge people. We are called to love people. Okay, and that was Philippians chapter 2, verse 3. Proverbs 12:18. Careless words stab like a knife, but wise words bring healing. I like the fact that it says, but wise words bring healing. Because sometimes the wise words that you speak to the people around you that you love the most are not necessarily what they want to hear. Sometimes you have to give them words of wisdom to help them see things with a better perspective so they can make better choices. And wise words bring healing. Okay, and Proverbs 19:17. Being kind to the poor is doing the will of God. And I could go on and on with Bible verses that say about how we're supposed to treat people. And nowhere in there does it say use people to get what you want. Okay. Edify. Your words should always edify and lift others up. That's another one that I like. Okay, and so I like to Google stuff just to see what Google thinks about it. And what I Googled is transactional relationships versus investments in relationships. Okay. Being transactional typically means focusing on short-term exchanges where you aim to get something done or achieved, a quick result without necessarily building a deeper connection. It's more about immediate transaction or outcome, like completing a task or exchanging information. In contrast, investing in people involves taking the time to build relationships and showing genuine interest in the other person's well-being, growth, and success. It means you're not just looking for an immediate return, but you're willing to nurture, trust, and provide support over time, even when there's no immediate result. And something I want to touch on whenever if you decide, hey, I'm going to start investing in people instead of being transactional. I want to get this love people cycle flowing, because it all starts with our own personal choices. My choice, your choice. Okay, like that's the only way this gets started. Okay, is for one person to choose to be a loved person that loves people, and then another person, another person, another person. And every person that chooses to flip that switch of hurt people, to being a loved person that loves people, you're setting an example for others. For everybody around you, they're going to notice the change. And they're going to take it into consideration. Even if that's not something they consciously want to do, when you set an example, it just immediately clicks on a conscious desire to know and understand how that works. Like, I know how the hurting people hurt people works. We got that system down packed. We're good at it. But when you walk through life as a loved person that loves people, not everybody gets that. And whenever you set that example, when you walk into that room, you shine your light, you see everybody in that room as somebody that deserves to have love and be cared for. And you speak through that intention. It sets an example that does not get ignored in your conscious mind. Some people don't like it, but they don't ignore it. They can't ignore it. Okay, so let's go on here. And like, I have a pretty bright imagination. And I talk about the America Discovers God Again Day of Prayer. Okay. 9 million people gathered at the American Discovery Trail, October 18th, 2026. Keep it simple, servant. If you want to be part of this movement, just get to the American Discovery Trail on October 18th, 2026. Google it, find your spot. And if you're Pacific, 10. If you're Mountain, 11. If you're Central 12, and if you're East Coast 1. If you want to know more information, check out my other videos because I don't want to stay stuck on that today. But as I think about the American Discovery Trail, and here's a question to ask yourself. This is getting a little off topic, but I don't care. I'm just going with the flow. That's what I'll do in every video without hesitation. The American Discovery Trail. Okay. My imagination for this. What would you do if you had all the money and all the resources you needed to do anything you wanted? What would your heart's desire be? If there was no limitations on how you could get it done. Think about that. Where do you go? Do you go to, ooh, I could do this for me? Or do you go to, if I had anything, I could help these people? Or, I could do good this way. Mine definitely goes towards I could do good. And I'm going to tell you a wild, crazy little imagination I have. I don't know if I should. I'm gonna summarize it. Okay, I'm gonna summarize it. So say I hit the lottery for like $200 million, just scenario. And if I had all that money, I would literally take $100 million and give it away. I would give it away. I would literally, you know what my goal, if I could have any dream that I've ever wanted to come true, it would be that everybody has their own home. Bought, paid for. Your home. You don't ever owe money on it again. It's your home. It's your piece of land. And that as I gave those homes away, I would build a garden. No home would go without a garden. Now, what the owners do with the home that I give to them is up to them. But I would encourage them. This is a garden, and I picture the neighborhood I live in. If we literally just had like 30 people with gardens around here, 30 or 40, which would be easy to do, you could literally go to your neighbor's house and get groceries. Think about this. Think about this. If every 10th house in your town had a garden, maybe one person grows the tomatoes, the zucchini, the carrots, and another person grows watermelon and spinach and lettuce, and so on and so on. What if all the stuff that you went to Walmart and bought was at one of your neighbor's house? What if that neighbor was a nice neighbor and he treated you good? And what if you went grocery shopping around your neighborhood and it cost you nothing? Woo! Grocery bill? Psh, it would plummet. Your grocery bill would plummet. You would still have to go to the store for necessities, yes. But how much would that help? And this is a big thing. This is huge. Honestly, it's huge. If a whole nation could get together and do this, we could easily feed our neighbors. And I'm not going to get into it, but I want to, but I'm not going to, because it'll go too long. I'll get too deep and too passionate. But the amount of money we spend on groceries is not necessary. It's really not. The restrictions they put on the farming industry to suppress them is not right. This is not how it worked, 50, 60 years ago. Anyways, back on the subject of transactional versus investments in relationships. There we go. But think about that. If you can actually think of what you would do if you had like unlimited resources, you should write it down. If you can think of something, And I hope it's something that invests in other people, invests in building a brighter future for our children. Um, if it is something that's immediately comes self-centered, that doesn't mean you can't change the way you think. Your mind is very capable of doing whatever you decide to do with it. You just have to have the right perspective and the right mindset. You have to get in the habit of building that daily, daily, daily till it becomes your autopilot. Your good autopilot, not the numb one that keeps you in survival mode. Oof. I'm so glad I'm not in survival mode anymore. I'm actually living my life. So I'm just going to read a couple more and then I think I'll just stop. Because I think I already got my point across. I feel like I'm getting better at these videos. Okay, so I'm just going to read a little bit more what Google says. Transactional relationships are based on clear exchange of goods, services, or benefits, with each party expecting equivalent value in return. They are often short-term, task-oriented, and goal-focused, prioritizing efficiency, speed, and measurable outcome over emotional connection. Measurable outcome over emotional connection. In personal contents, it can mean I'll scratch your back if you scratch mine. Support is earned and emotional presence is conditional. In business, transactional selling focuses on closing deals quickly, matching known problems to clear solutions, and moving on after the sale. While they can be cost effective and scalable, they often lack emotional depth and may foster a competitive mindset. When you live in a transactional world of what can I get me, it puts you in a competitive mindset. Because then you kind of get into the gear where I want to be top dog. What happens when you're top dog? You start looking down at others. Investment in relationships, often called relational relationships, is about mutual care, respect, and emotional presence. In these connections, you matter because of what you do, but because not you matter not because of what you do, but because of who you are. There's room for imperfections, vulnerability, and shared growth. In business, relationships selling builds trust and long-term partnership, aiming for recurring commitments and deeper stakeholders engagements. This approach values understanding the person, resolving issues, collaborating, and evaluating outcomes through the lens of mutual well-being rather than just transactional results. So I think that all pretty much sums it up. And I do want to just add this last point. Sorry, I'm looking for one thing to reiterate on here. I feel like it's farther up. Bear with me. Bear with me. I can't find it, but that's okay. I know what I want to say anyways. Whenever you do get into if you decide to step into, a new day where you want to actually start investing in people, one thing you have to do when you start to invest in people is have strong boundaries. Okay? Because not everybody, a lot of people live with this transactional mindset. It's on autopilot in their brain. Okay? And they don't do things intentionally a lot of times, But when you try to invest in somebody, you have to have those strong boundaries so that you do not allow your values and your self-worth to be compromised. If you go into a situation looking to help somebody, great. But if at some point in that relationship you realize that you're the only one putting in, and you realize that they themselves do not want to change, walk away. Do not try to control other people. It don't work. It don't work. You cannot, at some point, if you are trying to control another person and make them do what you want them to do, at some point during that relationship, it is going to backfire on you. So set those strong boundaries. Go out with the intention to invest in others. But when that intention is met with a wall, without receiving anything in return, without seeing them want to change, you got to walk away. You got to set those boundaries, because all you're going to start doing at that point is pouring more of yourself into the relationship than you're getting back. And then your cup's going to be empty and you're going to start to feel drained. And it's just not a healthy place to be mentally. So have strong boundaries. Know what you're willing to tolerate and what you're not. Give people opportunities, but know when to walk away. So I think that's all I got to say for today. God bless y'all. If you're interested in the America Discovers God Again Day of Trail, I have so many videos. Just look for one that says America Discovers God Again Day of Prayer. Y'all have a great day. Be blessed. And stay focused. Stay focused on what would Jesus do. And if you get down, get in this word. Oh my goodness. I can't make a video without telling people, get in your word. It changes the way your brain thinks. It changes the way you see things. And it helps heal you. Okay. We got to love ourselves in order to love other people. Take some time today. God bless y'all. Bye.